Hey everyone, so this is Hariket Sukesh Kumar Sheth, a second year BTech CSE undergraduate from VIT Chennai. So today we are starting with an exciting series for you all to learn more into Git, GitHub and open source. So what exactly is open source? How absolute beginners can begin their open source journey, and what are some of the amazing opportunities present for you all to avail in open source. So moving forward then, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. So please feel free to mention all of your queries, doubts in the comment section if you have at any point of time in the session. So we'll be very happy to answer all of your queries and doubts. Right, so let's move on with the Git memes, some of the funnier part of the session. And obviously these are not your normal memes, so these are not as funny as your normal memes, but yeah, let's deal with these. So first situation is when you actually will face when you're working with Git pulls and Git merge, and this is one of the concepts which you'll be learning in when you're working with branches as well. So this also we can take it as one of the situations which you'll face when you get a lot of errors, warnings from the Git commands. It is the only reason behind this is that when you are not very sure of the functionality of the command which you are trying to execute, so you have to be very sure about the functions or the function it will serve when you type that command, because if you are a bit of a confused, then obviously you will mess up in the order as well, and then it will raise errors and warnings as well. Git is very powerful and at the same time it's very effective as well. So that is why actually like it actually expects you to maintain the order of the commands you execute as well. So that is how Git works, and that is not something to get demotivated, but you should be very sure as well. Right, so second meme is one of the things which, again, as I mentioned, you have to be very sure of the order of the commands. You can't replace, or you can actually just write it in any order. You have to follow the order and follow the syntax basically. So git remote add origin, or git add remote origin, git remote origin add. So you have to be very sure of what comes after what, right? And the third meme is basically a long debate or a huge debate where we will fight on whether GUIs are better or command lines are better. According to me, command lines are better, but if you like to differ from my perspective, then you can actually put them and mention them in the comment section as well. So this would be the planned agenda for the series, where we'll be discussing about what is Git and what is the need to learn it. Second part would be discussing about Git commands, and the third one would be obviously the most awaited part of the session, which is live demo. And the fourth one is actually what is would be dealing with what is open source and is open source overhyped. And fifth one would be general talks and discussions and some of the misconceptions as well. So let's get started then. Great. So moving forward, then this is the installation guide which you can follow for installing Git in your systems. You can all of these links are present in the description box as well, and the Google Docs links. You can just follow these links and download the software. Right. So if you're a Windows user, if you're a Mac OS user, you can use the links which are mentioned in the documents. And if you're a Linux user, you can use these commands to actually install Git. Now once you have downloaded that file and installed as well, so you can run this command, which is git --version, to check if the installation is proper or not. If you type this command, it will actually print the version of Git installed on your system. If it doesn't, if it raises some kind of a red colored text, which is the error, or kind of if it raises any errors, then that means there is some error in the installation. You need to uninstall and reinstall the Git software, right? And alternatively, you can also type git alone, like if you don't want to type this whole long command of git --version, you can just type git and check. Both of these commands would help you to check the installations. Great. So now what is git then? So git, in English dictionary, it literally means as a silly, incompetent, stupid, annoying, or childish person. Right. So this is actually it actually relates to the story of development of Git as well. So Linus Torvalds, who is the developer of both Git and Linux as well, so they were using Bitkeeper as one of the softwares to maintain Linux kernels at that time. And at that time, what happened is that Bitkeeper withdrawed is free, it's free terms of users. So because of that, now Linus Torvalds felt that there was a strong need for a software, a strong need for a system that can actually have the same functions which the Bitkeeper has, but On the contrary, it also is more fast, it is more accurate, it is more efficient, and it's more powerful. It is more flexible, and it is distributed as well. So that is what the main goals were for designing or developing Git. Right, so Linus Torvalds just developed Git. And now moving forward to one of the biggest conception which beginners have is Git is equal to GitHub. It is not, please. Just don't confuse Git with GitHub. Right, so Git is not equal to GitHub. If you clearly focus on GitHub, it is actually made up of two words, Git plus Hub. So GitHub is a hub for storing or hosting your Git repositories, whereas Git is actually a version control system. Right, so don't confuse both of these things. Moving forward, now I said what is version control in the previous slide. Now confusion would be there of what is version control. Let's clarify that. What is version control? Version control is a system that records changes to a file or a set of files over time so that you can recall specific versions later. Right, so you can take this as that you're working on a project, a simple project. Let's take it as school result management system or airline management system, hospital management system, or you can also say it as your own portfolio website if that is so. So yeah, when you're working on such projects, what you do is that you constantly keep on adding codes, removing lines of codes, editing all of the codes. Now after some of the points, you reach a specific point where you add some of the code in multiple files, and then when you try to run them, it actually raises errors. Now at that specific point of time, what would you do to get the previous version of your code? Will you be doing undo? Will you be doing Control Z? Or what will you do in that situation? What will you do to actually maintain the log of all of the activities, all of the changes made on that file, or kind of maintain the history of a project? Right, so obviously it's not feasible for you to take screenshots, to take photographs of every time you make any changes or things in your file. It's not possible, it's not feasible as well for you. They will take a lot of time to store them and actually review them as well in the time of need. Right, so that is where version control comes to your rescue by maintaining the history of your project. Right, so why is it exactly needed is, as we specified now, it is actually helpful in reverting files, maintaining the project history, comparing changes. That this is also very essential when you are working on project, that you need to compare the changes, not just not just reviewing the information of what exactly was added and deleted, but also to compare the changes made in the versions of the files. Right, so you can also see who modified it and much more things. So Git then is officially defined as a distributed version control system. We clearly understood what exactly is meant by version control, but what is this new term which is prefixed, distributed? What does this mean? So we'll discuss this in the later part of the session as well. Right, so now coming to the usage, it is efficiently made, like Git is efficiently made for working into like team projects, but this doesn't mean that you can't use it for individual use as well. It is for both individual use and team project as well, but is efficiently like used and extensively used these days for if you're collaborating on team projects. Right, so this is not the only use. So you it's a misconception again that you can't use it for individual things. Obviously, if you're working on individual projects, you still have the need to maintain the history. Right, history is very important. Like if you want to maintain it, if you want to see the changes, if you want to go back or restore a previous version, it's very important. So both like it's used for both of the purposes, for individual as well as team projects. So what is the conclusion then? Obviously we have to learn Git. Right, so only Git exists as a version control system in this world? No, surely not. Obviously not. Right, so here you go. Like Subversion is there, concurrent version system is there, Perforce is there, Mercurial is there, and all of that. And not these five and the Git alone. Many are there. Many version control systems are there. So yeah, then where does Git actually makes the difference on all of these softwares is that, systems is that, Git was actually designed, developed to counter the disadvantages of these systems only. Like as we said, Linus Torvalds was actually developing Git. He actually wanted the same functionalities offered by Bitkeeper, but at the same time he wanted it to be more faster. He wanted it to be more efficient and flexible. So that is what something like countering the disadvantages of all of these systems. So Git is actually very flexible, accurate, and it performs all of the functionalities which are provided by these systems, right? So yeah, it counters all of the limitations of these systems. That's why that is one of the reasons also Git is very popular and also used by people lot these days, and it's now become mandatory or kind of important to learn Git as well. So now, elaborating on our discussion on what exactly is centralized or distributed, so let's move forward and we'll explain, like, let's explain this in a very simple terms. Let's take an example of CBSE results. I'm sure everyone would be familiar with what happens on the day of declaration of the results. The website goes down. And why is it so? Because all of the students, all lakhs of students try to access the website at the same time, and the server goes down, right? Because it's dependent on a server, it's dependent on some system which is actually serving all of the requests of students. So all are accessing at the same time and it goes down. So access to all of the students is blocked, or you can't access that website. So what you do, you actually try to access that website after hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and then you are able to get your results. So that is what the disadvantage of centralized system is, that you have to be dependent on someone to make changes, get those changes, fetch changes, and all of that. It's not efficient if you're working in a group, right? And it's not even efficient if you're working individually as well. You have to be dependent on an system, on an software, or on an kind of an server where you are dependent from taking the codes or taking your repositories from that, and then you have to push them also to update. But yeah, that is one of the disadvantages of centralized disk. Now Git is a decentralized or distributed system which gives you flexibility of working on any system, any software, like any laptop, any systems. You can take that repository, you can make those changes, and you can maintain history as well, and you can push them as well. So right, Git is a distributed version control system. So then where is the problem? Now it countered all of the disadvantages of previous systems. Now it's so flexible, it's distributed also. Then where is the problem? Still why people don't adopt to Git? Still why people are like, okay, Git is not important to learn? This is because this is the table which actually specifies all of the problems. This is because, like, as a beginner, if you're seeing this video, obviously this problem won't be faced by you because you'd be starting afresh with Git only. But people who have actually used some of the previous version controls such as Bitkeeper, GNU Bazaar, and Azure DevOps, so they will be having much difficulty to adopt to the terminologies offered by Git, because it's not just the problem of Git, but all of the softwares, if you see, they have different terminologies for the same function. If you see cloning as well, you will see that most of the systems have different terminologies for cloning the repository. And similarly for pulling, pushing, local branches, checking out, and all that, updating, you have different terminology syntax for all of the systems. So adopting to newer technology is difficult. But it's not very difficult if you're absolutely beginning with Git. Git commands are very easy to follow and remember as well. If there's no need to remember the commands, if you are actually having the function in your mind, it's very easy to follow. So now moving forward with the most common term you had heard is the repository. What is repository? I personally would have mentioned repository 5 times till now in the session as well. So what exactly does this Git repository means is that it is a directory, or a layman term to that is folder, that stores files, source codes, and basically collection of anything that can be tracked, and a history can be maintained, right? So when we say history, we mean that who made what changes and when. So just clearly a Git focus on that statement, who made what changes and when. So don't confuse a normal folder in your system with a repository. A repository is an advanced version of your normal folders that can track changes. Unlike your normal folder in your laptops and your computer systems, it doesn't show the date modified or the modified date when the last change or the latest change was made. Git repository maintains all of the activities, all of the changes, edits you made on that file, and maintains all of the logs, history of that file. You can see at what particular date who made what changes, in what files, at what specific section, how many lines were inserted, how many lines were deleted, what sort of change he made. You can see everything in that history. So that is what even you call it as a useful history as well. If you see, if your normal folder gives you the date modified of the last change you did or something, so that is not very like useful, because it doesn't specify anything. You just have the date in your hand, you don't have the information in your hand, right? So Git gives you the whole information of who made what changes and when. This who made is very important when you are working on group projects, because yeah, you have multiple people working on the same project. Moving forward, then, these are again terms which you will hear a lot, which is local repository and remote repository. Just ignore the description given on the slide. You can take it simply as local repository to be present in your own computer systems or laptops. So that is a repository present on your system, which is with you, which is, yeah, obviously you are working on that in your system. That is a local repository. Now when you host that on a remote server, when you host that in some service online present on a remote server, then that becomes a remote repository. So a local repository is a repository in your own system, and remote repository you can take it as the repository hosted on GitHub. So every repository present on GitHub can be known as remote repositories, whereas the same repository present in your system is known as local repository. So a very clear difference between both of these terms, and it's necessary if you understand these terminologies now, because you will hear people talking about it a lot, and they will refer also by these terms. So at that time you will feel a bit confused of what these terms means, but it's simply as what I said. Local is in your own system, remote is something hosted on a remote server. Right, so now let's begin of configuring your Git. If you have installed your Git software from those links which we have given in the docs, you can actually use these commands to configure your global username and global user email. If you are absolute beginner and your first time using Git, then it is actually essential to use these commands. If you have previously used Git, then no need to again reconfigure, right? So if you are a first time user, you have to run only these two commands of configuring your global username. Instead of your name, replace it with your own name, and in your email you can put any email address. Both of the things need not to be same as your GitHub credentials, right? So need not to be same, it can be anything, right? So yeah, you have to use these two commands mentioned on the screen. The below commands which are given for color preferences and list are optional, and you need not to be running them. It's not mandatory, but these two commands are mandatory, otherwise Git again will raise errors and whatnot.